Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. I want to talk a little bit more about land. I'm dealing with the land purchase aspects of things right now. So, full disclosure, we've got some land. But I'm looking at other land. I'm dealing with an investment development perspective as well as a homesteading perspective. So, you're just going to have to deal with that part creeping in periodically. Land. People put a lot of their anxiety into land ownership. If you have a problem with anxiety, if your life just doesn't go well because people are keeping you down or whatever, having a piece of land is not going to magically cure all of your problems, all right? It's not. Let's get that out of the way, okay? Now, ownership of that piece of land without debt, with a low tax basis, definitely helps with some aspects of personal security, okay? Owning a boat, owning an RV, same thing. Up to a point, one of the interesting things about owning a boat or owning an RV is that you are very much at the mercy of people allowing you into a space. That's a little more complicated. It gets a little difficult when you start looking at that because you don't control the space. With land, you have the land. You don't control the use of the land. You have to deal with county permits and inspections and government people going onto your land and taxes. And if you don't pay the taxes, they'll take your land. There's no 100% answer that will give you absolute security of your space. So you have to be at least mentally and psychologically nimble enough to handle those aspects. That there's going and buying your piece of land does not magically make all of your anxieties about life disappear. So please understand that. Now, then we get into things like the well, the septic tank, the fencing, the driveway, the access, the road access, road maintenance. And that's where you have to start looking at your land may not be the one dream. Your first piece of land may not be your one dream piece of land. And that's okay. Remember that you can always do something else later. A lot of people never start, and this is what I'm really getting at. A lot of people never start their journey because they haven't found the right piece of land. They can't live here. They can't do this. They can't do that. There's always a reason why they can't just go drop $4,000 on 2 acres at the edge of some subdivision in a rural county in Arizona and make a go of it. There's always a reason. Usually it has to do with the fact that it's Arizona. There's not a river running through it because you're going to get $800 an acre land that has a river running through it anywhere in the United States, right? No, you're not. Okay? There's not a river. There doesn't have enough tree. Dude, do you want land or do you want a myth? Because everything that you think you want that is an excuse why you can't buy a particular piece of land is a myth. It's either grown or it's managed or it's paid for. Like there's something that goes with it. There's no such thing as a free lunch, so to speak. So your job right now is to just get out there and do it. If this is what you want to do, get out there and do it, okay? There are some places, there are different counties in different states where there's more or less enforcement of code. Most of the time, you'll be able to do pretty well if you have good road access and a septic tank, okay? If you're not pumping sewage into other people's crap, other people's land, other people's aquifers, and you have access to the property, most of the time, you're gonna be okay. All right? Pretty simple. You may have to haul water in. Okay. It may be a little cold and you need a wood stove. Okay. It may be really hot and you need shade cloth. I would much prefer that over the dying without a wood stove. But hey, to each his own. Maybe what you want is tundra north of in the northern Yukon. fantastic. Have fun with it, all right? Have fun. Know your environment, but know that you're not going to get perfection, and that right now, especially at this particular moment in history, you're probably better off getting out and getting started than you are worrying about the perfect tree. Does that make sense? I mean, really? So let's go talk about the Desert Southwest or the Mountain West in general, because the Mountain West in general has all the same problems. Okay, the first one is wells. Wells are hard. Wells can be 300 feet. They can be 500 feet. They can be 16 feet. But that 16-foot well is probably going to have some issues, all right? Just understand that there's probably going to be some issues there. Doesn't matter which way it works. Your drinking water, you want to plan. Don't think that the well is going to save your life, all right? Because wells require some sort of pump. Unless it's a really shallow well, you're not going to be using a hand pump, for example. You're going to have power. There's going to be power involved. And if you have to have power, then the pump doesn't work without the power. You don't have water. So you need to make sure that you have water storage that is adequate for your needs for a pretty reasonable period of time. So water haulage, hauling water to the site, is a great way to start, because that forms your backup. That is what forms your backup when you get to a point where your well stops working for a week. Okay? Good job, water hauling. Don't worry about it, man. Relax. If you never get a well, that's fine. There are communities up around Quincy in California where you've got hundreds of properties that rely on one communal water source, community water source. That's fine. People fill up their jugs, take them home. That's fine. You're going to live with a different scale of water usage, okay? Urban people use 100, 150 gallons a day each. You're not going to do that. You're going to use 10. Great, fine. Hey, let's get with the environmentalist movement. Septic. I'm going to keep coming back to that and hammering that, because the Mountain West, generally speaking, you're going to be looking at unpopulated areas where you don't have to deal with a lot of crap from the neighbors, so to speak. That's a headlight in my face. But you are going to have to deal with county and state regulations. And pretty much, I'm just gonna, some counties are worse than other counties, but pretty much, if you have a permitted, engineered, properly installed septic system, they're not gonna mess with you a whole lot about what else you're doing unless it looks really, really bad. That's about it. I'm not suggesting that you break the law or build a building without a permit or do any of the dastardly evil things that people do, like, oh my God, barbecue outside, whatever. Like, follow the law to the letter of the law, whatever. Okay, but if you're in a position where you, for various reasons, have to live on the edges of society, including on your land, if you have a septic system, you're pretty good to go. Like, there's a lot of stuff they can't really push on you. You know, they can say, they can complain, but there's a lot of stuff that you can fight when it comes down to it. And you can go all the way there. There was a court case a decade ago in California where the California Supreme Court ended up siding with a homestead guy who that he had a fundamental right to house and feed his family, and the government couldn't stop him. There you go. You know, that guy, they went after him trying to say that his house was unsafe because of rats, because he didn't have a screen in one window. Like, the level of crap they pulled was stupid. And he took it to court, and he won. Yay, he won. But you're probably not going to have to go through that, okay? You know, generally speaking, when you get to the county, when you get to the permit people and the board of supervisors, you're going to be like, look, I'm not making a mess. I have a septic tank. I haven't done anything dangerous. you know, leave me alone for now. Give me advice. Maybe we'll work something out later. Maybe I'll find some building inspections or engineering diagrams, or find something online that says, hey, I can find you paperwork that says that earth bags are safe. That'll be fine, right? They're still going to want a couple $100 for their permit money, because that's what they do. They're government ATMs, and you'll have to figure that out at some point. Whatever. Septic tank. Now, access. I have had many friends who have had problems because their property was what they call landlocked. There was no public roadway for access to their property, so you rely on a presumed easement along someone else's property, on someone else's property. And that's fine, and it's legal, and it's enforceable. You can demand access to your property. The neighbor in question does not have to make it easy, convenient, or happy for you, okay? If you can work with your neighbor, it's a community thing, and there's 5 landlocked properties, and there's a road that goes through, and everyone has a key to the padlock on the chain and everything, then fine. Go for it. You're good. But make sure that understand what the access is. A county designated road, like I'm dealing with on one property, that is not maintained by the county, that's okay. You have to maintain the road. You have to make sure that you can dig out from the flood and repair it. That's fine. You have guaranteed access. No one can block that road off. You just may not get any government assistance in maintaining the road. That's fine. That's okay. It's not ideal, but at the same time, if you have a county graded road that leads into your driveway, that probably means more traffic and there's more stuff in the area. So where do you want to be? It's a question. How far out are you looking to be? Do you want to have mains power someday? Because that county road really helps with that. Then there's CC&Rs, or HOAs, homeowners associations, or POAs, property owners associations. Sometimes they will have dues of $20 to $150 a year, and they will have someone come out and grade and maintain roads. Again, super positive, great idea. Read the rest of it. Make sure that you know what the rules are for the properties and how they're enforced. I generally am against HOAs. However, there's some of the property owners associations that I've run into are basically road maintenance and don't make a dump. No commercial dump sites. And that's the basis of it. There's usually a nuisance clause in there that is I don't know how to describe it. Not enforceable, because you have to define a nuisance. So it becomes something where if you're not a dick, nothing's going to happen. You don't get Grandma Karen out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, that's just not how it goes. So this video is getting long, and we're talking about land, and I want to reiterate the points. It's not going to fix your anxiety. If you want to do it, do it. Don't wait. Don't look for the perfect piece of property. You're not going to find it. Make sure you have access and septic. Don't worry so much about the water. And then think about your environment. What do you need for heating and cooling? Because that's going to matter a lot as you build. All right? Stay sideways and get out there. Go find some land.